Hello.
Hello,
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 sir.
Professor. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, doing good.
Awesome.
Thank you for joining and welcome to the last session of our 5 days short-term training program. Need not to say it is really going fabulous. Now, all the we are receiving the feedbacks from the participants. They are really learning from all those sessions. They are doing good in terms of their assignments as well. I hope we can give some feedback to them at the end of all the sessions. So without wasting much of the time, I think today we are also going to have our valedictory at 12:30 p.m. So I would like to hand over the forum to you. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So, screen sharing. Okay.
Yes, sir. Now you can.
Mhm. Okay. So, good morning and welcome you all to the last day of the session. So, today we'll be actually wrapping up all these things together, and I want to highlight some practical research paper, and there are some different research papers. What are the differences among these papers or among these works, and how we can make it a more appealing research paper, and some highlights on project paper as well, since it's somewhat different than academic paper, and how to make a good project paper. So these are the basic things that we'll cover. So if possible, at the last of the session, I would like to share one project paper with you, and we will actually dissect this project paper so that we can have a good understanding or first-hand experience about like mm, how these things are going on and what are the things that we always have to keep in mind to make a good academic research paper. So without further ado, I would say that we can start with the differences between these papers, research works. First one is like a dissertation, what we are all are familiar with, and who did their PhD, they had to do their dissertation works. So dissertation works are written for university degree or diploma. You can also write dissertation for PhD. Okay. So I will talk more about like what are the differences and how we can differentiate among these research papers later on. Second one is thesis, a document students write during higher education to obtain an academic degree or qualification. Thesis is a part of the academic degree. It can be especially for undergrad students or some associate degrees as well. So this is not something that the supervisors of the academic the communities, they want something to have a fundamental contribution to the scholarly work or scholarly field. And the third one is research paper. Research paper is actually a generic term. It is the piece of academic essay writing generally done as a requirement for a class in research, and you have to do independent research. After the research, you have to write a description of the findings. Moreover, you present your evaluations, arguments of the topic under considerations. So these are the things that in academic research paper, we always try to highlight some form of our understanding of exploring things. It's not necessarily that you have to contribute fundamentally or some primary contributions to the scholarly field, but there are some sort of like exploring things. using secondary studies or using your own way of analyzing things, or you can even review some other works as well. So the research paper is very generic one. There is nothing, some standardized format or template that you have to maintain, nothing like that. And then since thesis, dissertation, and research work, we these three are under academic research paper or academic research work. That can be your independent, it is a part of the degree, or you can done it by the scholarship or fellowship, whatever it is. All are some way are more of theoretical academic writing, academic research work. And a project paper is different than these three, because that is especially action research that we do for uh, mm, any company or any organizations, or we want to sell our own identity or our own products in different ways. So we'll be talking later on, but these three almost have the same qualities or characteristics. How to write this, the steps, uh, mm, their introductions, their bodies, and what we want to know the findings just after the thesis. Okay, so there are a few steps we have to keep in mind when we write the thesis first, since this is the first one. Step one, pick an area of research that you are excited about. So in thesis papers, especially what we do in the, you have also like experience like me. So what we do, especially for undergrad students, we want to have some sort of research ideas in their minds. So they come up with any research ideas, exploring different articles, different websites. But so they come originally from taking from other sources. What we do actually, we try to customize them. We try to make it more appealing, more make it more original. So this is the first one that students will pick up from different articles, studying different journals or websites or same places. You must choose a recent topic while doing a research study. It should be a topic from his field or their field. So this field should be related to the topic. One business student should not do something literary thesis, or literature student cannot or should not write something related to thesis, business or scientific paper. Select a project which is unique. Unique, that means it should be somewhere original or different than existing write-ups, because we have to contribute a little bit to the scholarly community. You must select a topic in which you have a decent knowledge and you can put your additional inputs. You must have researched the topic well before implementing your thought process. I think in this slide we actually will highlight about how to teach research methodology courses to our students, or how to supervise our students. So these are the things that we have to keep in mind when we supervise our students. So in this situation, actually, this is the first step for students to be aware of their expertise, their mastery over their interest. So exploring different sources, they will fix up their interest. They will select what interests them more, and what are the ways or methodologies that would fit better with them. Some of the students may be interested in qualitative research, some of them may be in quantitative research, some of the maybe of like ethnomethodography, want to go to like to the real settings or to the native people. So these are all the things that students will decide when they are in their undergrad, and this is a part of the thesis. So through this thesis, actually, we know, or we want to make students a future scholar. And step three would be like, ask well-defined open-ended questions for your thesis. So unlike dissertation, project paper, or some other big report, unlike this thesis, every other research paper has some specific form of objective in mind, and we specifically know of what we have to do. This can be we can target it for only one purpose at a time. But in thesis paper, it is most of like open-ended questions. Sometimes student will work with like 4, 5, 6 variables, especially like when I teach a research methodology course, in this research methodology course, what I do, like I ask my students to start with different or a number of variables in mind, not only one or two, because they have to know that how to select the best variables out of many variables of that topic. And that's why we always prefer students as with an open-ended questions, even if even they found it from any other journal or any other sources, but we always encourage them to be open, because some other questions may come up, some other variables may fit suitable. That's why it should be open-ended questions. We should be flexible. They can sometimes they can go beyond their interest, because they actually this is not their interest. When they work, sometimes we found this, when they start working, in like halfway they found that no, there are some other research. When they go through literature review, they suddenly find that there are some other articles or some other topic that interest them more. So they can customize them together, they can some way synthesize them, or they can modify their research, or they can totally switch from there. That's why you should be always open, and you must know how to ask open-ended question. The bigger mistake you do while writing a thesis is that you ask high-risk question. For example, the most common type of high question is yes no question. This means you must ensure that your outcomes from writing are interesting and publishable. Yeah. So in yes, thesis paper, most of the times, if students want to build their career in academic teaching, academic jobs, or have some sort of idea, or uh, mm, have some sort of goal to make an academic career, they always want to get their thesis published. And that's why we should, or we have to supervise them in a way then it can be publishable, even if not in instantly. After 2 years, when they would gain some more grounded understanding of all the research methodologies and other things, they can fix up or they can modulate their thesis on the basis of their cutting edge learning. So that's why we try to make it more publishable. So to make it publishable, we want our students to be more explorable, not fixed one. That means what is the condition, or are say for example, are poor people happy with government poverty fund, something like that. So yes or no. So yeah, if you find that yes, most of the respondents say yes, or most of the respondents say no. So there is nothing more that we can have understanding, deeper understanding about the whole situation or the condition. So students sometimes they are very keen to, almost all, even I saw in other countries or even in the United States, the same thing undergrad students do all the time. That means they write some questionnaire the same way, like yes no, do you agree or not, do you happy with that, yes or no, something like that. So only yes and no, you know that what are the common answers of this what and no. So there may have some need to have some sort of intervals or ratios or something like that. No, nothing is like only binary yes and no. So out of this binary you actually cannot understand the deeper situation or deeper condition of that particular situation. So we always encourage students to be more explorable rather than to be very fixed. Though yes, no is very simple, because they can make the percentile easily. The 57% is here, then 43% is there. That means it wins. So yes is good. They are happy with that. So it is very simple, but we want to make them more explorable, more comprehensible to the research, and a room for further publications. Step 4, look for projects that are educational and incorporate marketable skills. So that are educational and incorporate, we have to think both of the ends in mind. Number one is like it can be educational or it should be educational. scholarly contribution or theoretical contribution, you encourage your students to use some theoretical foundations or literature review, because they want to make an mastery over theoretical foundations. And at the same time, it should have some sort of practical or empirical approach as well, because in future they may have to do some project work as well. And that's why you always have to make it more marketable, so that they can market, or they can use it for their further project proposal in future, if they are a academic scholar, or they can be a part of research organization, whatever it is. So that should be marketable. So one is theoretical, another one is marketable. So there are some good research question, there are some good thesis, but this is not marketable. So for theoretical reasons, we may accept it, we may encourage this, but we have to keep in mind that in future they may not be in the same position. They may need to sell their research. They may need to sell their studies. So that's why we have to make it more of marketable. And then choose a thesis that will help you to broaden your marketable skill set and help you in deciding which career path is best suited for you. Say, for example, if any students they like more of like corporate culture, they will talk about corporate culture. That's somehow related to a social science background as well. So they may have, or they want to have some sort of understanding about social science background, culture, how culture can impact one particular condition, situation, or society. So this way they can actually relate their business expertise with some sort of social science understanding, social science scholarship as well. Step 5, visualize your finished publications. So that is called keeping end in mind. We always should this is a proverb in thesis, always it is. So we start keeping end in mind. We always expect, or we have some sort of visualization. We can visualize that what would be the just visage, or the condition of my thesis after I have done. What would be it look like, how it would be more appealable, or how it can attract scholarly communities, or our professors, or at least for the publishers. So these are the things that we have to visualize before we do. Like what I did during my undergrad or graduation, always what I did, whenever I had to do any thesis, uh, uh, and I had to write even research paper, I always I always took in mind, or kept in mind that it would be publishable in future. I will publish. And yeah, most of the research thesis uh, mm, or yeah, most of the thesis and research papers that I have done so far, almost all of them have published, either published or under published, or some of them I presented in some international conference as well. So my first conference I presented, my article was in Bangkok, Thailand. It is actually the fourth poverty alleviation conference of the United States. So I represented in my country, and interestingly, I submitted my undergrad thesis there. So my undergrad thesis was some economic development and NGO contributions in rural Bangladesh. So what I did, like I expanded my thesis, undergrad thesis, into a publishable paper. So I made it more of latest data, because I presented it after 2 or 3 years after completion my undergrad. So I amended it, or edited it, revised it with updated data and updated literature reviews, and that's why it was granted by the committee, and I presented it. So we always have to encourage our students in a way that they can also visualize their future thesis in one position. So which position they want to see their thesis in future. Is it like for publishable, or for conference, presentation proceedings, or whatever it is. So they need to have some sort of goals, because without having any goals or vision, we cannot proceed on. It will attract, the vision or goal will attract students to reach to the point, or to the destination. So that's why you always we have to keep in mind that yes, we'll write this, or even in our own work, we always have to be very much goal oriented. Okay, then I think, yeah, that's all here. So now, and now the dissertation. So dissertation is almost like thesis, since the thesis will help you to teach. In this position, we don't have to do any thesis. So dissertation, in some way, who already have done their PhD or postdoctoral degrees. Postdoctoral is a must, of course, like a fellowship, and you did a more advanced research. But in PhD, what we do in dissertation is some sort of thesis, but we want to contribute something fundamental, primary contributions to the theoretical thread. It is, we call it theoretical thread, because you are the last continuum of the whole process. That's the theoretical generation process. First one, they may propose a theory. On the basis of that school of thought, we actually build our understanding, update, modify that particular theoretical foundation. Even if you want to challenge this is another knowledge or another propositions. It can be another model that you can propose to the scholarly community, that existing theory, there are some errors out there, and I want to propose an alternative model of that particular issue. So that's why dissertation is much more broader than thesis. And there are a few things that we always have to include into dissertation, that what we did not or may not have to do in the thesis. First one is abstract. Abstract is always like we want that abstract should be in the dissertation, even in the thesis. So abstract is actually the summary of the whole thing. So later on, I will talk about something, how abstract and executive summaries are different. Executive summary in reports and project papers, we write executive summary, but in dissertation and thesis, we use abstract. Even for articles, any journal articles, we use abstract. To use objectives. So in all sorts of writings, all sorts of research works, we need to have some sort of objectives. As if you do some quantitative research, you should not write more than 3 objectives at a time. You can do it for each of the objective. If you are doing quantitative study, you have to make a model for multivariate analysis. That's why if you do more than 3 or at best 4, if you make more than 5 models of your regression analysis or your multivariate analysis, the problem is then you may not clearly understand what are the variables that actually impact on your dependent variables, because lots of variables are there. One variable may have one impact, another variable may not, until or unless you are doing some path analysis. So most of the time we rarely do some path analysis. So it is very complicated process, or complex research analysis. So if you can do some path analysis, you can easily show the path. That means how much each of the variable contribute or impact on your dependent variable. But other than that, I would always recommend that it should not be more than 3 or 4. At the same time, you have to write literature regarding these variables. For each of the variables, you have to write some and how you can relate it to the broader theoretical framework. Writings. So whatever areas of study, schools of thought, and other sources of information you are doing, you need to mention it. It should be clear at the research stage only. So at the very first, that you have to mention it, like whether you write it for your master's degree, you write it for PhD, is it for your project paper, whatever it is, we have to always disclose our aim for doing the research. The idea there is, if you do thesis and dissertation, the supervisor, even if you submit into journals or other areas, they may know that you have some limitations because it is an academic work. You didn't find any project or any fund. You did it by yourself. And that's why it's always good to mention or disclose that what type of research it is. Even if you can also publish your project paper, though it is funded by other organizations. And there is a last class I told about copyright issue. So if you have the copyright and you could negotiate with your funding organizations that you want to have the copyright so that you can use it for your own purpose or own publications. And the fourth one is research, where you need to describe the ideas of your research question. You need to outline the area of the research. You will clarify, outline the area of the whole research process you wanting to do. You are wanting to do. Say your research objective, as I told, this is aligned. The three things will be aligned. One thing is, first one is your topic or your broader perspective. Second thing would be title, that will be more specific. Third one would be your variable settings, that would actually conceptualize your titles. That means each of the variables you will conceptualize. Under these variables, these are the concepts that I am going to use. When they are fixed, you will write your objective. For each of the concept under variable, we'll write one objective for each of the concept under the variable. I repeat. And the third one is like hypothesis. You would ask question. You will assume that in future I went to, or this is my assumption that out of the research I would find the association among these variables or not, or something like that. Research question is somehow, it is not mandatory for all sorts of research. So for example, in quality research you may not need sorry, in quality research you need to have research questions, but it's not that imperative that you can write its objective as well, because objectives are very concentrated, very specific, the relation association among the variables or one or two concepts. So if this is the case, so in qualitative study we may not always have to include this. At the same time, in the quantitative analysis you do not have to always include research question, though research question will make it more open to discuss, to open to explore, but it is not imperative that you always have to do this thing. But for quantitative you must have objective, research objective, and for qualitative you must have research question. So these are the guiding principles. So yes, so when you fix up your variables, your objective, your research questions, your hypothesis, then the question is like, what would be the scope? You cannot do everything in one particular topic. There is a thousands of ways that you can frame your thesis, your dissertation. There can be of different ways that you can frame, and that's why you have to write the scope of your paper. The scope of a paper, how much or how many areas that you want to highlight or encompass in your research paper. Okay, then method. So you should be always clarify your methodology then, and it should be always relevant or consistent with your objective and research hypothesis. It is crucial because methodology will dig out, will bring about all the necessary information then you need to have to establish your objective or your hypothesis. And that's why if methodology is not clear, if it is not that perfect, that you may lose some important information. But even sometimes if some form of methodology is enough to get the all information you need to include into your research, but you are doing something more. Say for example, for quantitative analysis, it is enough that you can get the secondary sources, data sources from any website or from any organization. But you are bombarded with lots of other methodologies. Say for you are doing something like FGD, you are doing something KPP, you are doing something case study, ethnomethodography. What are the use of this thing? So that's why your methodology should be always consistent with your objective, and it should be always equitable, concomitant. It should not be more or less. It should be always concomitant. What are the objectives you have, and what are the information, or what are the ways that you can get all the information regarding treating or addressing your objective. That is all. So your methodology should be they are targeting to get all the information needed to dig out, to figure out the objective or the variables in the objective. For that, we always use scale rather than doing our own questionnaire. because scale, somebody already did it and it is established. So if you use any scale, established scale, that will help you to understand or to get the question or information about your field, because somebody already did it and it is established. So in every field, be it research, business, be it social science, literature, whatever it is, for every subject, when you do research, you will find some scale. That means previously how other researchers did it. This is a kind of like indication for you. They are the forerunners of this questionnaire. What you can do in your methodology paper, methodology section, you can also highlight or say something that build upon my uh, questionnaire on this scale, say for Faulkner and Dijon scale, very popular scale, or you can use Thurston Bogart scale. Lots of scales are there. Even we use Likert scale. So lots of scales are there. So you would tell the readers that building upon my questionnaire on Faulkner and De Jong scale, I want to include some other relevant questions, say about demographic variables, their educational status. There are few things that you think that for your research paper, for your dissertation, you may need to know more. So you can include them, you are free to do that. But in methodology section, you have to clearly write that I will not use exactly the same scale like Faulkner Dijon scale or Thurston and Bogardas. I may use something more to have some greater understanding about my topic. And method, I told it method, possible outcomes. So we always want to have some possible outcomes. In quantitative analysis, how we measure it, I told you, like doing the confidence level, confidence measurement or coefficient variance. So in that stage, actually, we can get a kind of glimpse of idea what our research paper would be like, whether our hypothesis will be positive or negative. So after hypothesis, before going to the data collection step, we can find out that what are the possible outcomes that can be or we can get from the research paper, seeing the relationships among the variables through coefficient variance or the measuring the significance level. So if you see that yes, they are more significant, that means there are some associations. You are now fixed that yes, we will get some form of findings. It will not be in vain. That means there are some association. Whenever it is association, that means you can do some research on that. But if your whole paper is null, then it should not be. You cannot disprove all these hypotheses or all the objectives of the paper. There is no relation among any of the variables, so that will make no sense. And that's why there need to have at least few that would have some sort of association among the variables. It can be positive, it can be negative, it can be null, but at least one or two should be somehow related or associated. One can be like there is no association. This can be finding that can substantiate your research paper, but not that you always do all these things that no relation, no relation, no relation. Then your significance level all be more than your point 0, 0.5 threshold. So that's why I would recommend that you always think before going to the data collection step whether your research study will be funding or will get some form of new contributions to show the relationship among these variables. And if you see that all of your findings, all of your variables contradict with existing literature, you should doubt. Even if you think that your ideas or variables and hypotheses exactly match with existing literature, that is also a question of your concern. So that's why you need to do something that would say something better. Say one study may find association among A and B, they find positive relationship. You are also doing the same research and want to show whether A and B have positive or negative relationship. So in the coefficient variance level or significance test, you can easily see that whether they are related or not. Is it are the relationship significant or not? So if you find that in Pearson significance level test or alphanumeric test, that this is like more than 0.05 threshold, then you can easily tell that yes, there are some association, but you don't know whether this association is positive or negative. So in future, but you know that yes, there are some relationship or the association. So in existing literature, they found that it is positive relationship. After you find a finding, you see that no, there is no positive finding, positive association. There are some associations, but they are not positive, they are negative. Now your question can be, or you can substantiate with any case studies or any other sort of research methodology, and that's why triangulation comes from. Uh, if it is only the relationship negative or positive, you cannot say much what are the reasons behind it, because quantitative analysis will not allow you to do so. You cannot interpret a lot of things from your mind. You can substantiate a little bit from the literature review, but you cannot say much about the reasons from your mind. And that's why you always want to substitute, supplement with case study methods. This is why triangulation, we are talking much about triangulation nowadays. And then we can know that what are the reasons that the previous literature found positive association, whereas in my research it is negative association. What are the reasons behind it? So there may have like different interventions are there. For that, the whole situation or the other variables of the society have changed, and that's why it impact on the different interventions of the independent variable or on the independent variable. So there will be new findings. This is a really good contribution in scholarly field. But if you do not have any sort of positive outcomes in mind, you cannot go to the goal, or you cannot contribute something fundamental. Seven is time frame. So always you fix up your time frame. That means by this time I will submit up to methodology section. So in dissertation, you know all, in dissertation session, dissertation paper, what we do, like we have different chapters. First chapters can be of background, objective, methodology, research question, hypothesis, something like that. Second chapter would be like literature review or theoretical framework. Third chapter would be your data collection. Fourth chapter would be your findings analysis. Fifth chapter would be of your what is called discussion and conclusion. So these are the chapters that you can formulate for your dissertation paper. So one thing you also have to do in your future, first in the last report or the dissertation final thesis, you may not have to tell the time frame, but beforehand you always have to. Your supervisor, your committee will always want to see what is your time frame. So you can say that within these 3 months I will submit the first chapter. Within the next 3 months I will submit my second chapter. By another 6 months or 9 months I will submit my data collection procedure, and I'll update you regarding the data collection stage, where I am, how many data I have collected so far. So all these things that you can or you have to write in your dissertation paper before going to the final report. In final report, sometimes some research dissertation supervisors, they want that it should be mentioned in the final report as well. And but most of the cases, the supervisors do not want to write it into your final report, but you can write it beforehand to have a kind of like what should I say, you will have some sort of ideas that what are the time frame that I have to finish this sort of findings or work by this by the deadline. So that will actually give you a kind of a strong regulation or governance that you should go this way, through this way. So, and last is list of references. So references would be of different kinds, different categories. As I told, it can be bibliography, it can be reference, depending on the citation style that you are following. If it is like APA, they have different referencing style. If it is ASA, they have different style. If it is like, so you know, there is a lot of reference style nowadays. So whatever it is, you will just list your references like that way. Like in ASA, you should not like references because they want it should be bibliography, not in references. So there are some slight differences in bibliography and references. You can find it. So you don't have to write know much about it. Your citation styles can do it. As I told, BibGuru Zotero or some other softwares are there. You just input the name of the book or articles, and then author's name and books or articles name is enough. They will find out from millions of sources that and give you some suggestions. Is there anything like from there? So if you find this, yes, this is from there, you just click, and it will automatically be added into your reference section. You don't have to write anything. Automatically will go there. So this is B group. Other than this, in Microsoft Word, you can do something as well. In Microsoft Word, you can see and say, I can also see here. So in Microsoft section, there is also a process. Then you can do your referencing system. You can see that one, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth icon. Sixth icon on top, you can find the references. So using this icon, you can also formulate your references. That is also very helpful. Even this is also helpful because when you write, most of the time we write in Microsoft Word document, but some people use some others. There's a good another good platform other than Microsoft Word. This is pandit.com, so you can also do there, but in most of the time we do it in Microsoft Word, because Word files are usually usable. It has lots of facilities there. So if you go there in the reference section, you will find it in reference section. You can see there's a lot of ways that you can do so. So if you work through these references and say in your body of the text, you have to write a short citation. In the short citation, when you click references, it will automatically generate references for all the citations of the same name, and you don't have to do anything manually later on. So this is a very good resource that you can seek out, and you can use it into your research papers. Okay. Then so there is an example. I think I should try it now. Time is there. Yeah, before going to before going to the differences, I want to show you the another file. So I'll stop sharing this one, and I'll go another. Oh, hello, sir. Could you please allow me to share my screen again?
Just give
Thank,
me a
thank,
second.
thank you, sir. You open it, sir? Yeah, I got it. So yeah, so this is okay. This is one of the examples that I got from undergrad students. So this is a sample paper. It can be thesis or dissertation, but this is the very first one. So through this, since we have a very limited time, I cannot go through a big research paper, and that's why I'm doing in a short, so that you can have. Sorry, sir. So you can have you can have some sort of ideas that what or how a thesis or dissertation paper would be look like, and how we can give a review, or if we do something, we have to keep in mind that this can be an issue in articles or journal articles, publishable articles, or even dissertation paper who didn't their PhD yet. Okay, so the determinants of interpersonal trust. So there the topic is like determinants of interpersonal trust. So interpersonal trust, the student wanted to show some relationship among interpersonal trust. What are the things that actually determine people's interpersonal trust? So what the students did is, they wrote an introduction. In this introduction, they actually conceptualize or write the definition of trust, what the trust mean to that student. you can write in detail in your operationalization or the conceptualization, but since it is a very small or short research paper, so they did it in the first, and they also substantiate with some existing literature that what other people think about trust. It should be scholarly, it should not be from dictionary or Wikipedia. We always should cite original references, not in a secondary one. So at the second society level, Fukuyama suggests that this is a trust. So this is the definition of Fukuyama. It is not like only definition. It seems like definition, but it is not exactly like definition. It is more of like how you want to frame your study. Trust may have different meanings, but how you want to show your variable trust. So you should look for any definitions or any articles that explain or define the variable or concept the way you want to frame. And this should be like that. It should not be available or generic definition that is available on definition or in definition. It should be always targeted toward literature reviews that consistent with your literature. And then in the last para, they will say the importance of that. Given the importance of the trust, this is the current study that my current study will do these things. So it is a short objective as well. The short objective as well, that this is the background of the study, and for this reason I want to do the study. Please allow me to drink water. Wait a second. Okay, so thank you, sir. So up to this level, introduction level or background, we can give a kind of glimpse of idea that what would be our dissertation look like. Uh, so you can also make it more broader, you can expand it, but the idea should be like this. Second would be literature review. Since it is very short one, that's why literature reviews in the same ways, but in your dissertation you need to have a separate section for that or separate chapter for that. So in the literature review you can see that it is unlike other existing literature review, that these studies did so, this were their findings, but I want to do something more, this is the research gap. It should not be like this. It should be always fluent, it should be flawless. But if you say something like that research paper wanted to do this thing through this methodology, this is kind of only a review paper, not in the main dissertation paper. In the literature section, review section, you should not write like this. It should be of like flawless ways. That means in the paragraph you're discussing something, So you will just refer in some points. uh, you will modulate yourself, that you will discuss yourself, but in you will discuss in a ways that the literature would be relevant to your discussion, not something that your literature review will draw you to them. You should not be. Your discussion would be like you. So you'll discuss in a way that literature review will fit here. But if you go through the literature, this literature told about this, so I will go there. Yes, see, this is the good. And you another literature is talking about that, so I'll go there. So if you are just roaming around like this, hovering around like this, you cannot get into your main point. So since this is your paper, you should be more unambiguous, you should be more specific, and that's why you will write your literature review. At first you just think that you don't know nothing, you don't know nothing about existing literature, so you write your ways that how you want to do, and now for every transition you can look for literature. So say for example I want to say transit, trust, so I want to show I want to show the trust among different people. So trust is something that is that have been been discussed for long in our scholarly community or literary community. So when you have talked this, now you look for any literature that will substantiate your assertion. So you assert that yes, it has been long discussed in this in the literary world. So now you have to substantiate, you have to exemplify that what are the scholarly works that yeah, talked about your assertion, that to substantiate, to strengthen your assertion. So this is the way the literature review should go. Not you should something that this Mr. X, he talked about like this is also a good thing, and it is not like me, so I will do this. This is the another thing. So if you just go through and to and fro, you will not, you can never get into the point that you want to go. And then so yeah, these are the things. So keep in mind that for literature review we always try to focus on the sub variables that we have fixed for objective. Like in the variables, say one independent or one dependent variables, but I broke down in the last class or before the last class about like how one variable can be separated into different sub variables. Within this trust we can define that how we want to measure the trust. So if we want to measure the trust, say by financial transaction, by their commitment, by their job commitment or corporate commitment, something like this. So there are the few things that you want to measure. These are the indicators of your variable. You should write literature review for each of the sub variables that would be used into the objective. So objective will not directly use the independent and dependent variables that you told or you used in your title. That would be divided. That should be divided into different indicators. So based on all the indicators, you will write a para in the literature review. So we look for the literature review related to this keyword, related to this subvariable. Then that will make sense. And then these are the proposition and hypothesis. So yeah, that's why I actually wanted to show you how proposition and hypothesis are made. So you see in this proposition, they they have broken down the sub variables from the big concept or big dependent independent variable like determinants and trust, determinants of interpersonal trust. So they break down these concepts into some sub variables. One, proposition one, whites are more likely than blacks to trust in other people. That means interpersonal, they mean black and white. Now we understand interpersonal. I can define by myself. I can say interpersonal, that means my relationship with my fellow Bangladeshi friends. I can say my trust as my fellow Asian friends. I can say my cohort of my university. So there are a lot of ways you can define the trust. So the definition you will make will be your propositions, you will be your sub variables. So one thing is like relation, you want to see the relation between non-whites and whites. This is one thing. And based on your proposition number one, you would make a hypothesis. The hypothesis is whites are more likely than non-whites to say that most people can be trusted. So the proposition or hypothesis, proposition is like whites are more likely than black people to trust in people. It is general assertion. It is common statement. It is nothing positive, negative, relationship, nothing. It is like common statement. You are asserting something. Now the hypothesis can be positive or negative. Even you can make it in negative ways as well. Whites are more likely than non-whites to say. You can say no. Whites are not more likely than non-whites to say that most people can be trusted. Or in the other ways, you can say non-whites are not more likely than whites to say that most people can be trusted. So you can formulate your hypothesis, but keep in mind, you always think if it is like secondary data sources, you have to match with your secondary data sources, how they measured it. If you are doing something extra, or you want to doing some you want to propose some hypothesis in contrast to existing literature or the data sources, that will be really tough for you to prove. So if you want to even do the null hypothesis, I want to show you some of you might say that then how can I make it null hypothesis? This is positive hypothesis. You can also do the null hypothesis, but just use the negative of negative. In Hegelian term, negation of negation. So we know that minus minus equal to plus. So if you to use two negative terms, then it will be positive. So you can do like whites are more likely than non-whites. So it's positive. So we'll make it. We'll just switch whites and whites and non-whites and say non-whites are not. That means it's double negative. Non-whites are not more likely than whites to say that most people can be trusted. Now we see the same thing. Males, the main tenet of the statement are same, but now it has become null hypothesis. So you can formulate this ways, but you have to keep in mind the main sense. Main sense is you want to show that whites are more likely than non-white to say that most people can be trusted. White are more trustworthy, or white can trust people more than black people. So you want to say like that. So you can say negatively like no non-whites are not more likely than whites to be to trust people. So it is null hypothesis, but the main thing is that we want to show that whites are more likely than non-whites to trust people. So this way you will formulate your proposition and hypothesis. The same way like proposition 2, this is also like males are more likely than females to trust in people. So for interpersonal relationship, they used race, black and white. Second one is male and female. You can use your term as well, as I told you, your friend, your fellow countrymate, or a lot of things, a lot of ways that you can show the interpersonal, even religious or even educational, a lot of things are there. Okay, then method. So in method section, I told that you have to combine few things, or you have to include few things. Number one, your data source first, the year of the data, and the location. So there's a three things you have to include into your method section. Sometimes if it is primary research, this one is secondary research. But if it is primary research, you also have to include the people or the respondents that you are doing to. What are their populations? What are the sample size? How you have selected the sample? Here, since it is like data, it is secondary sources, they actually filled out the sample process. So if you are doing by your own, you have to write another section for sample design. So in this sample design, you will frame everything. What are the population? It is like in a community, it is like a country, it is a society, and what are the ways that you think that the sample would be representative to the population, whole population. So this would be your method section. Since it is secondary analysis, they do not use this sample design. So they use only data sources. So data used in the study come from 2016 General Social Survey, GSS. So one thing I also want to tell you about writing process. So would it be better if we could focus on writing as well? There are some writing languages for your research paper. Uh, you have to keep in mind in future. So the thing is, like, always try to write in present tense. Even you have done the research paper, always try to do it in present tense. So General Social Survey GSS, the GSS is the National Cross-Sectional Survey of Personal Age of 18. So the sources GSS. It is represented all non-institutionalized person 18 years of old. They told about the population of the research. Living in the United States, they told about the location as well. So there are the three things you must include into your research paper or dissertation. Now you have to divide the variables. Since I told that there are two variables here, mainly independent and dependent variables. One is this told that interpersonal trust, and second one is the what is called the determinants. So if you can break down, or if you break down these variables, you will find some other indicators or concepts. So you always look for that concepts as well. Say for this study, they used exact concept or indicators that have been used in the GSS survey. GSS survey have their own way of doing these sort of indicators. But in your study, when you will do primary study, you always have to break down the variables by your own ways. For that, there are few things that you can follow. Number one is like previous or existing literature, how they divide trust in their studies. Second one could be what you want to know. Trust among interpersonal relationship. Interpersonal, what do you mean by interpersonal relationship? Or what sort of interpersonal relationship you wanted to look for? Is it like university interpersonal relationship, male-female relationship? Is it like a rich-poor relationship? So there are a lot of things that you can do. So it is better always we do some dichotomous demographic variables, dichotomic variables. It is easy to interpret later, like male-female or female, male, non-female, non-male, like others. So this way, if you can break down into a dichotomous variable, especially your independent variable, if it is like demographic, it is better. But some others you will find they do not, they have like some interval ratios, you cannot make them dichotomous. So in interval ratios, interval and ratios, you can write some options are there, so you can label them, you can put numeric values for them. So this way, in the variable section, you can break down your variables in different ways. You can make different indicators based on the secondary data that already have been done. Second, it could be based on the existing literature. Third could be of your own interest. Fourth can be the scale that you want to use into your study. So this scale has been used by another person. So what are the things they include to measure any particular variable? If it is like trust, so if you want to measure the trust, how another person or another researcher before me, they actually used to measure the trust. Say for example, there is a big Fukuyama has done the biggest study on trust. So you can say that Fukuyama in his 1996 study, Fukuyama drew his data or the questionnaire using this scale. So I am also going to use my scale, but since my focus is somewhat different than Fukuyama, I will be focusing more on, say, relation among boys and girls of any particular class. Say, so you should include or you should customize this question as per your need. You can customize the scale, but your scale will give you some sort of ideas, some sort of template, some sort of guidance how you can make your own. So based, take it as the template and use or customize your ideas, your sort of variables, your indicators, or your objective there. Then it is done. So there are the four ways you can fix up your variables. Oh, please, Jayasari Murali, I got it today. Please, Jayasari Murali, you're scratching something. Okay. So yeah, so these are the ways that you can write your method up to variable section. So since a different groups of people are here, so I am not gonna show you the statistical methodology or how you can write in like quantitative ways. If you are doing something quantitative, you need to have some sort of mastery over statistical packages, then analyzing softwares, and some sort of like available or it is called programming languages. So this way you can formulate your data analysis. Now it has become one of the dominant subjects among all subjects. It has become one of the subject by itself. This is called data science. Data science are now, my gosh, in United States, data science is the most valuable subject. No person with data science degree is unemployed. Okay, so I'll go back to my previous slides. Okay, sir, you have to, oh, sir, you have to allow me to, yeah, thank you. Okay, so we have done so far. What's the time now? Let me see the time so that I can work accordingly. Okay, we have 27 minutes more. Okay, so what are the ways that research paper is different from dissertation? So there are only few things. uh, the structure I showed you, these are applicable for all sorts of papers, all sorts of research works, be it thesis, dissertation, research paper, project work, whatever it is. So you have to do all these things almost the same ways that you have to done. Okay, then how a research paper is different from a dissertation? This is, in a research paper, you have to prove the central argument. It should mention and contain all the main points the research paper wants to address. So your research paper should be based on a central argument. So in the background section, we will actually talk about the central argument. That means we will go straightly to our central argument. We cannot pass through, or you can talk something loitering, just loitering around our central point. What we do in the dissertation, before going to the main discussion, you can see how dissertation look like. You will find like almost 100 pages before going to the main section, because you are talking about backgrounds, other articles, you are reviewing literature, a lot of other things. But in research paper, it should be very much pointed to or very specific to it. In a research paper, you have to talk about the central thesis statement and should gather. That is all that I told. A research paper is an expansion of the central thesis. Okay, so you will propose one central thesis and you will just expand it. And that's why I told in the dissertation section as well, that first you assert something. You will assert something both for thesis and dissertation. You will assert something and you will just expand it. So in the thesis, you will assert from your own point of view. It can be is substantiated by theories or not, but you will expand one assertion. But in dissertation, we want to expand this assertion very broadly, using different literature, different arguments, even different charts, different data. You can use also some other data source. That means exactly the tables or graphs or other things that have been used in other sources. You can use them. That in other sources they use this, and these are the data source or graphs that they used in their particular literature. So this is the thesis is usually part of the research paper, not vice versa. The research paper, original piece of document, plagiarism free. So research paper is always plagiarism. It is good for all. Even the assignment should be plagiarism free. Please keep in mind that when you look for the assignments from your students, please also make sure that it is plagiarism free. If your university of your program doesn't have that software or to detect, if it is not turned in its software, you can use free version of this, like grammarly.com. So Grammarly is free of that. You may not get a complete overview of the plagiarism, but you will get some sort of ideas that how where the data they got from. The website's name and everything is there. But I would recommend that you buy one premium. You can buy it by group. Even 100 people can buy one only. So 100 people if buy like it is about like $100 or something, then it will be only $1, like say 50 or 60 Indian rupees. So that is usually useful. Okay, then major components would normally included in the research proposal are as follows. So these are the common things I told, that's abstract, statement of the problem, significance problem, background of the problem. That should be all. Sometimes in the dissertation or big research paper, what they do, they mention it differently in different chapters. But in short paper, what we do actually, we have to mention all this parts. We have to mention all this source of information, but in a very short term. Like in introduction, we saw in the last paper that I showed you, that statement of the problem, significance of the problem, background of the problem, and objective of the problem. Four were in the under one introduction. But in a big dissertation paper, you will just expand it. But the main tenets, main theme of your research paper should be based on these basic things. This framework is good for all sorts of papers. Then methods, okay. Objectives includes research question as well, and hypothesis. Work plan, how you want to do the time frame and everything, and personnel, who will be working with you, how manpower, who will be supporting you, facilities, what sorts of facilities you want. If it is scientific paper, you need some laboratory. If it is like a business studies, you need to go to corporate field, so you need some assistance, you need some devices, you need some transport, or whatever it is. So you have to fix up your facilities that you may need. And then budget, what are the budget you think that would take, uh, you need to conduct the study. Okay, is there any, how many people are waiting? Yeah, so okay, then I will talk about project proposal. So we have done with academic research papers. Now we will be talking about professional research work. That means project proposal that we actually want to do for getting some fund. We are wanting to do some work, big research work, getting fund from somewhere else, and it has some empirical approach, empirical destination, unlike scholarly contribution of dissertation and thesis. So that's why project proposal requires some extra information than thesis and dissertation. So one is like the proposal is a document that outlines your project's core value proposition and sells into the stakeholders. So you have to sell the idea that how you want to make this paper useful for the particular like group of organization or the donor organization, funding organization. And a project proposal may include a list of activities or tasks that will be associated with the project, but it does not go the same level of detail in a project plan. So a project proposal may include all these activities of the task that you want to go to, but it is unlike some project plan, because project plan is very specific, that I want to do this thing using that formula by this time frame. So everything is there very specifically. This is called project plan. Unlike project plan, in project management process, it is project proposal. What we do actually, we want to give a kind of like bird's eye view of the whole project proposal's idea. And then there are many reasons why you might uh, want to create a formal proposal for your projects, to win a new client, to secure funding, to convince your manager to allocate resources to your initiative, and many more. So whatever the reasons, the core value is we want to do some research, getting fund from external sources. It can be your company, it can be outside of the company, it can be from donor organizations. So the basic aim of project proposal is to get some fund to do your research. A project proposal helps you get a buy-in at your organization. Okay, it creates clarity about the goals, priorities, and requirements of the projects. So it creates clarity of the goals, priorities, clears clarity, since theoretical foundation may be it may sound very uh, what should I say, it is not ambiguous, but it's very complicated. Only some scholar people or the expert of that field, they may understand it, like using theoretical foundation, strong theoretical foundation, their school of thoughts, a lot of like theoretical or models are there, but in project proposal it's simple and it's very empirical. Anybody can understand it. You don't have to use so much theoretical. You should not bombard it with lots of theoretical substantiations or evidence. It is should be always very practical. It is very simple. Anybody can understand it, and they know that how it can help or benefit them using their particular source of service to the people. It forces the project initiator to think through the project details before pitching it. So a project initiator who actually do this, so before going to the projects, it will give you kind of glimpse of idea that what is the project about and how it can help us to go through the project process or the research projects, and how it will help us uh, to to benefit our industries or benefit our organizations, or how to contribute to the human service as well. After the project proposal is approved by all the stakeholders, it becomes the foundation of the project plan. So once it is approved, so it has become project plan. In the project plan, you are very specific, you are very clear that these are the things that I want to do. Exactly the time frame, the people, the facilities, the budget, everything is fixed here. So, then uh, different project paper has different, like if it is like for NGO it can be one, it can be if it is for corporate there'll be one. So for different organizations they have different proposal format, but basic things are almost same. So these are some form of proposals that we can divide, but don't be hesitated or confused with that. This is very simple one. You just want to know the name. Internal or external, stakeholders solicited or unsolicited, created in response to an official request for proposal or written ad hoc. Some office may require some solicitation or unsolicitation, that for my organization, please, what are the people that can do this research? So you will submit a research proposal then. And continuation. And continuation means already one part of the projects have done, so they want to continue the projects and they want to have kind of understanding or kind of evaluation that what have done so far and what would be their continuous implications in future. So renewal, put forward to restart a terminated projects. Sometimes once the project started, it was stopped, so you want to start the project again. So before starting the projects, they want to know or understand what could be the future of the projects or the research paper would be. Supplemental is already there are a lot of things are there, you just supplement or you would strengthen it, or you would challenge it, whatever it is. There are some other papers, other research uh, uh, related to this project. You will just say something more about it. You can either support it, you can challenge it, whatever it is, but your point will add some values to the existing research. Okay, then how to write a project proposal. So in the project proposal, we start with executive summary. As I told that this is different from our previous thesis and dissertation or academic research paper. In academic research paper or theoretical framework, we always abstract. Abstract, that means what we cannot touch, and that's why we call it abstract, non-tangible. Since project proposal is always tangible, that's why we call it executive summary. So it is more of tangible, it has tangibility, it has execution, and that's why we call it executive summary. Executive summary has not come from like executive board, it is come from execution. So executive, that means which summaries or project can be executed, that's why it is executive summary. But in theory, this is another name of theory or theory, like it is like very abstract. This is intangible, this is cognitive, that's why we called it abstract. Okay, so executive summary will the same way in objective, you in executive summary will sum up the whole report or whole project. But there are few things that you have to write more. That means in project summary, you will write some recommendations. Since it is empirical, so you have to show some empirical base of this project. And if you want to use it, or after finishing the work, after finishing the projects, how you want to implement into the real field. So there should be some recommendations, there should have some form of like focus to the actual field or empirical field. Here are some guiding questions to help you get started. So there are the few questions then you can ask before go. What problem does your project aim to solve? What are the problems specifically? You have to identify the problem. Why is it important to solve it? What are the necessity of doing the research? how will it help solve it, how your study project will particularly help to solve this problem. Include the project background. You can write some backgrounds as well, like as I told that there are four ways you can tool four ways of project proposal. So you should also write the background, why you want to do the project, and whether it is renewal, it was like it is like add some values, whatever it is. So you write some background here. Include a section where you go into more detail about the problem you are solving. Prove to your readers why they should care about this project and back your claims relevant reference statistics. So since it is empirical, you always want your readers to know on that what are the implications, what are the trend of the research with this field in this field. Consider providing answers to the following questions. So these are the all things I should mention specifically. I think I covered a lot. Yes, there one thing I want to say, even some of you might know that on the basis of that particular term, there's another full course is offered in some departments. This is called SMART, SMART, SMART. All project proposals or project paper should be guided through the SMART. The smart term smart means S equal to specific. It should be always specific. It should be measurable. M for measurable. A for achievable. We should not give some dream, or it should not be something like a daydream that I will achieve everything by my research paper. This company will be like Google. You should not say something like that. It should be achievable. It should be realistic. You cannot say something. If you use your $100 billion, then it to be better. So you cannot propose something that is unrealistic. $100 billion by an organization is really tough if it is like a medium or mediocre organization. And time bound, and it should be time bound. You should be like, it cannot be like for a whole life. It can be for 2 years, 3 years, whatever the time. You should mention it, and it should be always time bound, whether it is 1 year, 2 year, whatever it is, but it should be time bound. It should have some deadlines. Okay, then list the required sources. So what are the required sources you may need? So these can be your supplies. As I told, it can be transport, your other machineries, gadgets. In most of the times you will find you will get some gadgets. That means a laptop, your phone, some modem, or there are some sort of like technological devices. Almost all donor organizations will provide you. This is must. They will provide you all the time. But for transport and some other issues, they may not give you all the time. So then ad spend. So yeah, and salaries. What else? So yeah, for this section I will talk more about in the next section. So a financial background, I'll tell you what to do. So this is the template for your project proposal template. So number one is executive summary, that I have told already, that in this executive summary provide a brief and clear summary of the reason this project is what undertaking. So what you are taking, what you undertake this research project, it should be clearly mentioned in your executive summary. And then project background, as I told, that it should have some project background saying why you are initiating the projects, what are the target of the projects, what are the findings of the projects, what could be the findings of the project, how it can be useful. So these are the things that you could use. And you could use some historical trend as well, historical trend, or we call theoretical thread. You can use the thread as well, that from which part to which part it goes through. And then a proposed solution. And you should not only tell about the problem, because the very idea of proposing the project, research project, is that you want to solve the problem, and that's why you want to show that what are the best solutions that you can propose, you can offer to the organization. So this way proposed solution would be a great part of your research paper to be accepted, or your project proposal to be accepted. Otherwise, why would they give you money for that? And the requirements, so these are the requirements. I would say the first one is like budget. You should write the budget. So in the budget section, you would write budget and time. I will say both together. Budget and time. Your budget and time should be like manpower hour distribution. Those who did project proposal before, they know that what manpower budget distribution is. Like you cannot say like my time is like my my, what should I say, my labor for per hour is like $20, $30. No, it is not mine. It is like manpower. You yourself is manpower. You can convert yourself into a material. You can convert you into a tool, or means, like what Marx said, means of production. So you converted yourself into a product or a tool. So then you have become a product, and for that product, if you have co-authors, if you have some other research assistants, you will include them. So all of them together will be man hour distribution. So nothing like a day is for 24 hours. You will not work for 24 hours. You will work for 8 hours. So 8 hours into how many people you are working? 5 into 40 hours. So 40 hours is the man hour. So you will budget on the basis of the man hour power, not by yourself but other people. The whole summation and divided by the in each person, summation of big n by a small n. So this is why you can do this budgetary distribution. So there are some other strategies that you can do. So this is the generic one that I have told, that I experienced from my own research experience with like a food and agriculture organization. So we had to do this way. So there are other ways then you can do. Like in a few days ago, I saw another projects in the United States. They did it differently. And they have actually format for that. So you have to write down just exactly how many research assistants would be, what would be their salaries, how many people would assist you. So everything is there. So you don't have to think much about the budgetary allocations and the tools. So what tools you want to go use for this? That means for this budget, what are the tools that you need to buy? It can be laptop, car, if it is big projects, some other things. Skills. So internal skills and external skills. Internal skills, your own educational skill, competence, or how many times you have done so. For external skills, but who want to, or who is gonna help you to do these things, or what are the external support that you would get into this requirement. If it is there in supervisor, or if you want to take any help from any consultant. So there are some external support that you could do. And expected impact and success metrics. So then we can see the define the expected impact of projects and how it will be measured. Increase MRR by X% end of the year. So these are the ways that you can find the impact of your success rate of the projects. So there are few strategies then you can measure your projects benefit or project implications. So for that, there are actually this also, there are some template. You don't have to do it manually. There are some customizable link. Just you have to write, you have to fill out the exact form, exact blanks, and then they will automatically compute for you. They will give you the result. So the timeline, as I told, that there should be a timeline. You say the first one I will take like 3 months or so. So whole for starting to end point, it would be like 18 months, 1.5 years. So you see the first 3 or 4 months would be concepts, and after 1 month concepts. With concepts, there another one is like band. I will just make it bigger. So you can see the first 3 months would be a concept. So and it will go up to say for 3 months. So after 3 months of the concept, we will initiate brand. It will go up to like 1 year. Then just few days after branding, you'll write the design. So design will go for another for 6 months. And then in the design, what are the things that you have to include is like layout the research paper, how you want to go, what are the things that you want to. So these are the ways that you can customize it. This is just a sample. You can customize it, but my idea is like you also have to make a timetable, a project timeline like this. So in the project timeline, you will write the whole time. That is, I will start here. It is for 9 months. If it is 9 months, 9 months will end here. So 1 to 9. So you will divide this. If it is a graph paper, you can divide it by 1 month by 1 month, or even by 15 days by 15 days. Then you can write this way. That first chapter will be done by like say 2 months, and after 15 days of the start of this first chapter, I will start my second one, and that will go beyond this. It's for 3 4 months, 6 months. and then we'll start one by one, you'll say. And if you think something will go from start to the end, you can also write there, like say for example, it is not applicable, but for your understanding, you can write supervision. Supervision will start from the very beginning of the projects to the end of the projects. So your this line should start from the starting point to end point, and this whole point is like about supervision. I think I could make it clear. If not, then I would answer you again in the question answer session. So how many times left? Oh, that's almost done. Okay. Okay, what is it? Okay, so for persuasive project proposal, there are a few things that you have to keep in mind. I think these are part of your research proposal. In the proposal, you could come out, but these are the things I think I should talk a little bit. First one is, what is the background of your readers, especially the decision makers? Would they understand specialized terminology, or would it be better to use simple language? You have to look for it. If it is like donor organization is the any business house, and this is very reputed business house or renowned business house, you can easily use some business terminology. If it is like literary works, then you could use some literary terms. If it is from like any scholarly group of people, they want to know some implications of any particular poet or particular literary works. So you can use this terminology. Some bombastic terminology could be there. But if it is for general people, say some donor organizations, they do not understand some bombastic word. They always want to have some very simplistic word that can be easily understandable, comprehensible. So you have to keep in mind that uh, who would be going to read your project. So keeping that in mind, you should frame your project accordingly. And what would they find more convincing? So what are the exceptional things that you can contribute? It may be in the literature review by this literature in the by this time. So you have to give something special. It can be data, it can be visuals, it can be using feedback. So there are a lot of things that you can find it more convincible. So try to use in research, especially in project proposal, try to use more graphs, tables, because the project leaders, they may not have enough time to read through all the whole report. It is, can be of 500 pages or so. They do not have that time. So that's why when you especially when you propose your research project proposal, sometimes you have to present it, present your research project proposal. You have only 3 minutes, only 3 minutes. I told you before as well, I want to repeat it again. There are the only three things that you have to highlight. What is my project about? What is it for? The second one is like how it help, how it will help to the projects, how it different than others. So there are three things that you always have to ask yourself and present in front of the donors or the funding body when you present your project proposal. Then you will get the projects, then the question will come afterwards. And then what tone of voice is likely to resonate with them, formal or informal. So you just look at what sort of organizations are they. If it's like say Melinda Gates Foundation, they may not look for any formal formal project proposal. If it is like Rockefeller Foundation, they may not like this. But there are some crude academic organizations or business organizations, they are very formal. You have to use all the formal languages there. Even sometimes you may not be allowed to use first person. You may have to use a third person all the time. Keep it brief and simple. So you want to make it more brief and simple. As I told, always project proposal should be very much targeted, very much specific. You should not loitering around this all the things. You should be always focused. Okay, the same thing. Make it, I told about smart. So this is a sample letter. Then you can write to the project manager or any donor organizations. So in these organizations, I'll just go through first. Your name should be there, company, your address, recipient's name, company, recipient email address, greetings. Then you will write, first one should be about your company or your organization. If it is organization, then all about your research proposal that you want to read, write into your project, full project report. You will just summarize them. Summarize here the objective, methodology, findings, implications, policy frameworks, timelines. So everything will be here. This is a short form of your whole project report. And I think that's all. So abstract and executive, I told before, this is almost the same. Abstract and executive summary. Abstract is really theoretical, and executive is more of executable. If you also rephrase it, then you can easily understand executable. Because I heard some people thought that since it is executive, that means it's related to like some office only. It's resonates with office, but no, executive doesn't resonate with office. It is executable. Abstract is something that is not tangible. It is theoretical only. I think I'm finished. So if you have any question, then I'll go to the question. Okay. Thank you. What is the difference between this and I told it? Some of the questions I have already answered. So still, if you have any question, you can repeat it. You can ask directly here, or you can write again if you think that you have not got your answer. Mm. So yeah, was someone asked about like a proposition and hypothesis. Yeah, proposition is not assumption. Proposition is assertion, statement. Statement is like say you want to see. I would be better if I know your background. Okay, so say for example you want to see that how corporate culture lead to job satisfaction. So if it is like corporate culture lead to job satisfaction, one is corporate culture, another is job satisfaction. So what do you mean by corporate culture? You can say corporate culture is the relationship, interpersonal relationship among the colleagues. It can be that it's a flexible working hours or flexibility in works. Or in the job satisfaction, you can say that do you want to come into the office? It can be a scale only. So you got three indicators. Now it has become indicators. That means you divided your variables into two concepts or two indicators, and another one is your dependent variable job satisfaction. But when you want to get information about your job satisfaction, you will write uh, 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 in the measurement process. You will write that uh, how likely that you want to go to your office even in the holiday. So this is one scale I just want to mention. So your proposition will just say that likelihood of going to office uh, on holiday by a person who is working in a interpersonal related organization. So there is no positive, there is no negative. It is just a statement. It is just a statement. It's just an assertion. It's just a sentence, a thesis statement. But in thesis, in hypothesis, always ask something. Either you can support it or you can reject it. But you have to ask something. You have to assume something. You have to assume all this something that you assume that um, there is no relationship or job satisfaction is not related to corporate culture. I make it bigger, but you have to you have to divide it. You have to break them down, and you have to write one by one. That means for interpersonal relationship with among, whether it lead to job satisfaction or not. Then second would be like the people with flexible working environment have better job satisfaction. So this is you are assuming now, but in assertions you are nothing. It is assuming nothing positive, nothing negative, nothing like this is the assertion. It can be positive or negative, but now are assuming it is positive. This is the difference between proposition and hypothesis. Uh, for interval or Likert scale, can we convert into dichotomous? For interval and Likert scale, we no longer use Likert scale as such, and I also recommend some other people as well, because Likert scale have been modified some by or replaced by some other advanced scales, because Likert scale use a few levels, but we know that more the levels are, better the understanding would be. So that's why the latest scales, they use more levels. So I would say that if the levels are more, it is better that you keep these levels. Otherwise, if you make it dichotomous, especially if it is like dependent variables, or you want to know exact impact of one variable on others, if you make it dichotomous, you may not know the exact form of understanding. I can give you an example, then it will be easy. Say if you want to know the educational quality, for education we also use sometimes like dichotomous, say another thing, like if it is income, say for example, if it is like income, like 1000 to 2000, 3000, so a lot of variations are there, lot of variations are there. So it is better that you keep these levels like this, like 1000 to 2000 would be 1 2 3 4 5. So you set mean numerical values for all these things. So it is better to know in detail of your variables and their impact on other variables. But some demographic variables, we always do some dichotomy. It can be like for gender, male, non-female, or non-male, or female, non-female, or like education, educated, uneducated, or non-educated. You can also make it three. So these are the ways you can do with the demographic variables, because there is no lot of variations are there. But for other things, where you want to know much about the variable and the results and findings of the variables, you should go with the different levels. You can best combine one or two or three levels together, but not more than that. There should be some variations. Sorry, I want to. Oh, sorry. My PhD has dependent. Your PhD project has dependent independent variables and uses almost only secondary data. Okay. What are the best analysis tools should I use for the best of my research? So you didn't tell about what sort of research is it. If it is like qualitative, then I would recommend content analysis. Content analysis is the best way in for qualitative research data for secondary data. Qualitative secondary data, using secondary data in qualitative research, I would say content analysis is the best. And second would be like a qualitative descriptive analysis. You can also use qualitative descriptive analysis as well. But descriptive analysis, sometimes it is highly subjective. But content analysis, they may have some, you have to use some words. You know how to do this. You can go through the process. So in content analysis, it has, though it is some way qualitative in nature, it is subjective, but it is not that subjective like other process of qualitative research, because you are using some keywords and you will find keywords from the book or any particular secondary source. And that's why I would say for qualitative analysis, best is the content analysis. And for quantitative analysis, if it is secondary data, I would say the best one is to use any government data, because they are proved by expert, or international data, some big organizations data. You can use this in your research, no problem. Okay, then I told what can I scale and research in marketing, HR, social science domain. Yeah, where can we get skills for research? You can get the skills from existing literature. You just go there and how go to their methodology section. How do they do the research? What are the, is there any skills they use? That is, sometimes you find that they use another skills, and sometimes you see that they use their own scale, own questionnaire. That means questionnaire would be serving as skills for you. So if they use certain all dissertations, I will give you the all the information. I will give you all the resources through the organizing committee. So we'll get these resources. There we'll find millions of dissertation, almost all dissertation around the world. You will find there. So from that dissertation will give you more insights, because they use questionnaire as well. Everything is there. Dissertation are more detailed, and that's why you'll find everything there. I would request you to go the link see relevant dissertations and look for their questionnaire. So you can easily find that what questionnaires have been used so far, what are the skills they used. So there are few skills that are very popular. You can use them as well. Okay, done, sir. Okay. Next. No. Suppose a grant methods to apply for the same. Yeah, I think we can talk it personally, or you can email me. That would be better for research projects, because it is like the big analysis, big description is there. A lot of things that you have to keep in mind. So so is there any specific to be taken care of while drafting the study title of the paper? Any particular? Yes, for drafting the study paper, title is really phenomenal. You should write your titles in a way that is very catchy. Like only use writing or reading your title, the committee or the editorial board, they be attracted that yes, that can stand out of the message. And I didn't tell it actually. There's one thing you can know, that when you submit any paper to any dissertation, any journals, chief editors or managing editors, they use like it is called desk rejection. That means instantly they will reject some paper without sending to the editorial board or to the peer committee. So these are the things that would stand out, or that would prevent your paper from being rejected. That means your title should be very catchy, then at least it will be saved from a desk rejection. And you know that for 50 to 60% in big journals, 50 to 60% are of desk rejection. They will not even answer your email, whether it is accepted or not or something. They will not go through it. So to get rid of, or to save yourself from that, you title your abstract, and some first chapter would be really like insightful. And okay, I think yeah, I think yeah, I have answered all the questions. Thank you all for bothering me for for tolerating me for 50 minutes, I think. Yeah.
Professor Mehboob, we are so inspired by you that we are thinking of really adding dissertation in semester 4.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Thank you. So, sir, shall we begin with our valedictory session?
I'm
Sir?
okay. I'm done. I'm done. You can do it.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you so much. The Sanskrit saying, Athithi Devo Bhav, means our distinguished guests are so valuable for us. We will be blessed with the knowledge received from them, as knowledge is the key to progress that we strongly believe. With this virtue of words, I, Professor Dr. Sonali Shaha, on behalf of Dr. D.Y. Patil B School, would like to welcome with a cup of hot hello, a plate of crispy wishes, a spoon of sweet smiles, and a slice of great success. For today's valedictory session, and with the benign blessings and best wishes from our beloved Honorable Dr. P.D. Patil Sir, Vice Chancellor Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth and Chairman, Dr. D.Y. Patil Unitech Society, Vice Chancellor and Secretary of Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth Society and Dr. D.Y. Patil Unitech Society, Honorable Dr. Somnath Patil Sir. Then our distinguished guest, Dr. P. Malyadri Pacha, Research Advisor, Management and Commerce, Center for Economic and Social Studies, Hyderabad, and Chief Guest of today's valedictory session. Dr. H. Sihabuddin Chalid, Head of Advisory Board, Polytechnic Negeri Tanah Laut, Indonesia, and Guest of Honor of today's valedictory session. Dr. Amol Gawande, Director, Dr. D.Y. Patil B School, eminent speaker, Professor Mehboob Bhuyan from University of Miami, USA, illustrious participants, and wonderful audience. Before commencing towards today's valedictory session, let me take this privilege to walk you through Dr. D.Y. Patil B School. Well, we believe in empowering aspiring management leaders Dr. D.Y. Patil B School differentiates itself from other business schools in terms of state-of-art infrastructure and by enabling research-led academic excellence and sustaining unparalleled educational practices and innovative teaching learning methodologies. Some of the accolades and achievements received till now are recently received glorious ranking in 3 different categories from the most reputed and trusted survey for management institutes in India, that is Times of India ranking 2021. Dr. D.Y. Patil B School has ranked 20th among top B schools of India, 11th in top 75 private institutes across India, and 8th in top 20 West B schools. Dr. D.Y. Patil B School has been conferred ET Now Business School of the Year award for the 2 consecutive years and fastest growing business management institution of the year award by Bijox Media Network Private Limited, New Delhi. Well, over the last 4 days, we have had deep insights into various perspectives of research blend pedagogical practices. It is indeed a matter of immense pleasure for us to give a crisp summary and the takeaways from the 3 days of session conducted by instructor Professor Mehboob Bhuyan from University of Miami, USA. With nearly 500 plus registrations and 5 modules covering from basics of research to writing project proposal. The pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity. The optimist sees opportunity in every difficulty. Well, this is what we learned from our optimist leader, Dr. Amal Gawande, Director Dr. D.Y. Patil B School, our fascinating and captivating leader and director. He always keeps us going. He has been awarded as Business Leader of the Year award by World Leadership Congress, as well as Most Visionary and Innovative Director of the Year award 2021. Even though he is not with us at this moment because some of his very important engagements, but his best wishes and unconditional support will be always with us. Let's welcome now Dr. Sheetal Darekar, Deputy Director, Corporate Relations, for a welcome address. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. It gives me a great pleasure to see the short-term training program organized by Dr. D.Y. Patil P School in collaboration with Politeknik Negeri Tanah Laut, Indonesia, and Association of Indian Management, India, on topic Professors' Pedagogical Practices. It has been instrumental in enriching the knowledge of practicing as well as aspiring professors from India and Indonesia. Pedagogical content knowledge is found to be a crucial part of knowledge base for teaching. Studies have proved that domain for professors' knowledge is related to pupils' increased learning, motivation, and interest. Also, research has helped professors to understand what works, why the short and long-term implications are, provide justifications and rationale for decisions and actions. It also helps to build a repertoire to help and deal with the unexpected, identify problems, inform, improvement, and so forth. It is also very helpful in finding solutions to particular problems arising in the classroom. It underpins the professional learning of knowledge, skills, and understanding, and connects us with the sources of information and network of professional support. Research and Publication Cell of Dr. D.Y. Patil P School has made a small attempt to catalyze the current pedagogical practices blended with the research aptitude. I congratulate their great work and would like to assure you that we'll be organizing many more such events in future as well.
Hello.
I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to
Hello.
instructor Professor Mehboob Bhuyan
Okay.
for his knowledge and example-picked learning, which was not only very enriching, but also quite lucid. And I'm very sure your exemplary way of delivering the lectures will transform so many participants' pedagogical practices. Thank you all for being a part of this STTP.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your wonderful, crisp welcome note. Now, it is the most awaited moment of this ceremony, the man who has confidence in himself. Reaching the destination with commitment is success. That is what is meant by the name of our distinguished chief guest, Dr. P. Maladri Pacha. For such person, sky is not the limit. I would like to take this honor to welcome Dr. P. Maladri Pacha, Research Advisor, Management and Commerce, Center for Economic and Social Studies, Hyderabad. Let's get to know more about him. Well, he obtained doctorate in commerce in 1991 from Sri Venkateshwara University. He rendered services in government with 33 years of experience of teaching, research, administration, training, and consultancy. A prolific writer, Dr. Maladri has authored 6 books and 143 research papers in various national and international journals of repute, including Scopus Indexed. He is a peer team assessor of NAC committee. He has presented several research papers in around 100 national and international seminars and conferences. He is on the international editorial advisory boards as a member in 353 international peer-reviewed journals, including Scopus Indexed. Dr. Maladri served as principal for more than a decade in affiliated colleges of Osmania University and Rayalaseema University, and also served as Director Research and Development in JNTUH affiliated engineering colleges. He got an award of Senior Fellowship from ICSSR New Delhi. He is also serving as inspecting authorities appointed by Ministry of Minority Affairs, Government of India. He received several outstanding awards for his academic achievements. Dr. Maladri is state-level Best Teacher awardees in the year 2008, honored by Government of Andhra Pradesh. His current research interests include CRM, bank marketing, finance, rural development, human resource management, entrepreneurial development, and strategic management. Let's welcome such a dignified persona, Dr. P. Maladri Pacha, to enlighten our audience with his keynote address. Welcome, sir.
So, very good afternoon. Is it audible?
Very well.
Yeah, thank you. At the outset, I am thankful to the Vice Chancellor, Dr. D.Y. Patil University. And I am also thankful to Professor Atul Kumar, who is a coordinator of this program. I really felt happy and glad to note that a wonderful program on professors' pedagogical practice is a wonderful title. And I thought that this is the first program. I gone through it, the syllabus also of the short-term training program, like methodological issues and how to write research papers, ethical values. These are all the good areas which there is a dire need for a specific focus on research. As you are aware, now the students needs experiential learning. Experiential learning. So once the students are indulged with the research activities by visiting fields, they know the things, they know the realities at grassroots level. So we need not explain thoroughly on theoretical basis. Once they are indulged with research activities, they may be able to know everything, they may be able to learn everything, and undoubtedly they may update the knowledge. As a matter of fact, research is a multi-dimensional. And every discipline, there is a more importance for research. Every subject, there is a more importance on research. And it is quite interesting to note that there should be a balancing between teaching and research. Academicians always feels that research is different and teaching is different. No, not at all. We need research also for providing good inputs to the students. So therefore, there is a balancing between research and teaching. Once the teacher is indulged with the research activities, he may be able to know the aspects at grassroots level, different ideas, different opinions, he might be grabbed. The same may be disseminated among the students with wonderful inputs. We need empirical evidence. We need more research studies on empirical based, not secondary data based. See, it is pathetic to note that I can't say pathetic. Many finance department, they always go for secondary data based studies. Of course, there is a more relevance for secondary data based also because we can provide good insights. But however, there is a more prominence for empirical based evidence. We may be able to provide good inputs. We may be able to provide good inferences for taking better decisions. That is most important. And the stakeholders are waiting for our inferences, for our sessions. Who are the stakeholders? Industry, government, and society. So it is our responsibility, it is our social responsibility to provide good inferences, good thoughts, good ideas for the betterment of the society. That is important. So therefore, with the inferences of the evidence, research-based evidence, we have to publish. So through publications, we may disseminate the results effectively. So publications are most important for us by providing evidence. But the word is very dangerous. But many academicians are cheated by the cloned journals, prerogative journals. I think that issue also discussed at length during the short-term training program. But here, a reputed professors also indulged with the cloned journals. That is a very pathetic. So while publishing research papers, they should take a meticulous care in identifying the journal for publication. Go through suppose if you wanted to publish a paper in Scopus Index, go to scopus.com, check it up, whether it is Scopus Index or not. That is most important. And with regard to ethical issues, that also discussed in short-term training program, this 4 or 5 days program, because we need to provide exact data, relevant data. We should not cook up. If you cook up, out, you will be out. So therefore, being a professor, you are supposed to preach the students with regard to plagiarism. If you teach the students with regard to plagiarism, then over a period of time, the lecturer, they will become lecturers, they will become assistant professors, they cannot indulge with any malpractices. So it is our duty to say something about the plagiarism, and we are supposed to preach it. Regarding funding opportunities, see, being a professor, you are supposed to tap the funds from various funding agencies for conduct of research studies. You are supposed to take it up research projects because it elevates the institution. See, many NBA or NAC or NIRF, any agency always search about the research credentials, that is publications, research projects, how many projects are carried out by the faculty members. That type of data is most important for the agencies, recognized agencies. So there is a need of tapping the funds from various funding agencies. Funding is not at all a problem. You can go on regularly, go through the websites, the various ministries. Many ministries are Government of India, You can go to the World Bank, ILO, Industrial Labour Organization, like that, UNICEF. Many funding is ongoing projects, proposals are invited by them. So you grab it. It's not at all a problem. Funding is not at all a problem. Once you are indulged with research activities, it is just like it should be a passion. It should be a itching. Then only you may be able to motivate the students. Once you motivate the students, automatically you will be also be motivated towards research. Is most important. So therefore, for accreditation purpose or for getting the values of the institution, one should indulge with the research activities. Then only you may be able to motivate the students very effectively. The another important issue which we need to focus on research guidance. Nowadays, many research scholars are not able to getting guidance from the research supervisors, from the professors. That is a big problem in India. So therefore, what I am to say that all the professors or the research supervisors should provide some time, proper time to the scholars, guide, motivate the scholars so that the scholars may be able to attend the work very effectively, and they can indulge with ethical issues. Definitely, it may be a credit because the faculty members are always busy with various academic activities. They may not be able, they are not able to attend the guiding activities. Research supervisor, as being a research supervisor, you have to play a vital role. If you motivate them, you will also, I already told you that you will also be motivated, and then you can do whatnot. So research is a big platform. Definitely, it is an elevation for you. So if you balance with the teaching, people say most of the faculty members, after obtaining PhD, they may forget the research. They may think that their job is to teach. So they concentrate on allotting time for preparation of lessons. They won't indulge with research activities. That is a big task now. No, not at all. Every faculty member should indulge with research activities. With the help of the research activities, you can get good analytical skills, and you will have creative thinking, and you will have innovative ideas, so that the same may be disseminated among the students. Definitely, students, once you may be able to provide good inputs to the students, students will get wonderful opportunity, wonderful employment opportunities, and the industry, government, society is ready to provide good opportunities where they have innovative ideas. Is most important. So there should be more focus on research now. NEP, National Education Policy 2020, is giving a top priority for the research. So therefore, all the professors, faculty members should be ready in indulging with the research activities. Of course, we are already indulged with research activities, but top priority should be given to the research activities. Later, thinking about research, thinking about teaching, no issue. If you are good at research, automatically you will be good at teaching. That is not a problem. So thank you very much for inviting me for the wonderful platform. I hope I'm thankful to the organizers. Over to the organizers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. There is some very interesting thing happened. Sir, your name, basically Malayadri, itself signifies so many perspectives from today's session.
Yeah.
For example, M represents multidimensional, A for approach, L learning, that is what you talked about, experiential learning.
Yes.
With Y That is yes, abilities. That is the ability to choose the right journal for publication. D, in their respective domains. With R, that is research, I, interest for the betterment of the society. So thank you so much, sir, for
Thank
giving
you.
us so much
Thank you.
deep
Thank you.
insights
Thank
into
you.
research perspectives. Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to request Professor Dr. Atul Kumar, the coordinator of the today's valedictory session and STTP 2021, who always says that don't wish for it, work for it, just make it happen, to walk us through the glimpses of STTP 2021. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sonali ma'am.
Thank you very much. I have another program.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
I am leaving.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
so
Professor
much,
Atul
sir.
Kumar.
Thank you. Thank
Sir,
you
just
so much,
one moment. Atul sir, one moment. Just let's take a group pic before sir leaves, please.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, please.
Can all the participants have the video on, please? Just for a while. Thank you. Yeah, please. Still some of. I'm
We would
waiting for you.
request, yeah, we would
Yeah,
request the
please.
fellow participants to just switch on the videos for a moment, please.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Malayadari sir, for accepting our invitation to be the part of this journey. We are really grateful to you. Day before yesterday, I had a word with you, and on very short notice, you accepted our invitation to enlighten this event. We are really grateful to you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So, Sonali ma'am, can I continue?
Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sonali ma'am. Sir, actually, sir has some different meeting assignment, so that is why he could not continue with us. That is why when we spoken before me, and so participants, I would like to start with this. It was really an incredible journey indeed. Right from its inception, designing, delivery, and succession. I'm sure this STTP is enriching, as enlivening, and as motivating to me as has been to all the participants. We have had an excellent sessions of 5 days, power packed, bundled with straws of knowledge and lucid examples given by our young, dynamic, and inquisitive minded instructor from University of Miami, USA, Professor Mahbub Wayan. In such a small span of time, so you have not only won our hearts, but also our minds by your exemplary way of delivering the sessions. I'm sure that many of us would have previously attended many of the workshops on research methodology at many other platforms, but the same topics which Professor Buan delivered not only demonstrated his rich and deep knowledge of the subject, but also is a blueprint in itself for all the participants who are professors or are going to be professors tomorrow. Expertise lies not only in knowing the things, but also in the way it is presented and explained to the student. So this short-term training program could be a cornerstone for all of us to improve our researching skills and also to incorporate those in our teaching method. It is said that when one writes, it enhances the retention power. Keeping that in mind, we had mandated the participant to submit the assignments. The questions were made on the topics that were delivered in the sessions. I hope that you might have received even today's assignment. I would request all of you to submit that assignment as well as you have submitted all the 4 assignments previously. So this STTP was also graced by one of the guest lecture of research ethics and integrity by an eminent scientist, Dr. Pasupaleti Visweswara Rao from University of Malaysia. On the 4th day of this program, who generously agreed to share his expertise on abiding with ethics and integrity while conducting a research. This was an additional arrangement made by Dr. Diva Patil B School in the best interest of the participants. I hope that all the participants might have gone through with that content and could realize the seriousness of the research ethics and integrity, and they will follow those things in their life. And here I would have an announcement to make that all the recordings and the study material that would be shared by us to all the participants who will successfully complete this program. Tomorrow, we are going to have your MCQ based test from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. as per Indian Standard Time. Only those participants who have attended all the sessions, submitted the assignments of each module, and will score more than 50% in that MCQ test will be awarded the certificate of completion. And this certificate will definitely be add on in your not only in your knowledge but also in your expertise. This certificate is going to be signed by not only the director of University from Polytala, director of this institution, Dr. Diva Patil B School, but also it would be signed by our instructor, Professor Mahbub Buan. We are really grateful to him for being so generous and kind and providing his signature to us and giving a right to include it in the form of the certificate. And this certificate will be provided to all the participants, those who will fulfill the criteria within the next 15 days. So please be with us. And we will definitely going to provide you the assignment, but it will take some time. The reason being that we have to go through with all of your assignments. We have to match your attendance, and lastly, we have to also go through with your MCQs test. Guys, we will be coming up with many more such initiatives and sessions. So kindly stay connected with us. At the end of this session, I will share a link of Telegram with all of you on your WhatsApp group, which we have created. Those groups may not be, exist after this workshop. Okay, but you can join that Telegram link, which we usually use to communicate with the outside world from Dr. Diva Patil B School. So you are most welcome to join that group and can get the information about our next initiatives. Thank you very much. Thank you so much to every participant, those who have generously participated in this event and made a success. Okay. With this note, I would like to stop my words and will hand over the forum to Professor Sonali. I think we have one more guest of honor from University of Kuala Malaysia, Indonesia. So he will speak. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Really, we are thankful, sir, for orienting us towards the highlights, the features, the glimpses of STTP 2021. Let's move further. I would like to take this honor to welcome guest of honor, Dr. H. Siabuddin Khalid, Head of Advisory Board, Polytechnic Negeri Tanah Laut, Indonesia. We are so privileged to have such a person who is so humble, aspiring towards the divine, ever blooming from within towards the light amongst us. Let's get to know more about him. Dr. Siabuddin was the second director of Polytechnic Negeri Tanah Laut, Indonesia, and now is head of advisory board. His leadership and vision makes Polytechnic Negeri Tanah Laut nowadays improving a lot with special regards to infrastructure and global recognition. Let's welcome such an eminent personality, Dr. H. Siabuddin Khalid, to enlighten our audience with his keynote address. Adab, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, Madam. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon,
Walaikum
everybody.
salam.
Thank you. First of all, thank you to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, our God, who has given us healthy opportunity, spirit of power and mercy, blessing, and also salawat and prayer we will say to our greatest Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, to his family, his friend, and all of his followers. Honorable Professor Amul Gawandi, the director of Dr. D.Y. Patil School, Professor Mahbub Buyan from University of Miami, and then also Prof. Malaidri Fasa, and also Professor Atul Kumar. I think I could mention one by one. All happy participants short-term training program. On this great occasion, I would like to thanks again to Professor Mahbub Buyan. It is just like one semester, but you did for 5 days. That's really great season, Prof. Thank you for the very informative session. I think that we still need more from you to explain about research. We also open to collaboration, and then also from this great opportunity, we would like to have to make a diversity, not only for research, maybe some culture. I think that Indonesia and also India, we could change the culture to find the novelty for the research. Also, we will arrange the international conference so that we could join a research, and then also maybe from this pandemic era, we got the positive aspect also about the technology. So now we could do everything like this, by Zoom, so we can learn directly. But I think that I would like to meet all of you, in time, and then directly. It will be really hopefully, we could do it after this pandemic. I think that I totally agree with Prof. Malaidri. Funding is not a problem right now, but the research itself really important to find the answer logically and also empirically. So I think that now we need to find some research and then find the novelty of the research. That's really good, and we learn how to do some research with the methodology. Thank you again to Professor Mahbub. It is such a wonderful session, and I also, on behalf on my campus, so sorry, my director couldn't attend this here because there is so many work here. So hopefully in the next session we could invite my director also. And I think that from 5 days, I tried to find some word, from the Professor Mahbub, try to explain. I think sometimes in this world, we don't have to understand to do something, but do something, then you will understand. Just like a research, just do, and then we will understand, because we try to find some knowledge on it. So I think that's all for me. And Once again, thank you so much to all of you, and we very welcome about it. And maybe for the next, we could arrange another time or event like this, yeah, between Polytechnic Negeri Tanah Laut and also Dr. D.Y. Patil B School. Thank you so much, and I'll give it back to Sonali Saha. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And in fact, chalte chalte, sir, you have signified three C's in front of us. As your name is Dr. Siabuddin Khalid. So three C's we have learned from you in such a short span of time. One C is for the collaboration that you talked about. The second C for the culture, that is the research culture, what we meant. And third C is conference, that is the international conference for nourishing intellectual abilities and research aptitude. So thank you so much, sir, that you have really oriented us towards three C's. So chalte chalte, sir, salam, adab, assalamu alaikum. Thank you, sir. So let's move ahead. Leaders don't create followers, they create more leaders with amplifying thoughts and resonant mind. With the virtue of these words, I would like to take this honor to welcome our eminent dignitary and instructor of STTP 2021 for his experiential journey during this 5 days program. So I would request Professor Mehboob to proceed with his experiential learning during this journey. Over to you, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So welcome all again to the valedictory speech. I'm actually really relieved to say you goodbye in this position because I've been with you for the last 5 days. It was a great experience in my life to share my ideas with my fellow professors, fellow academic leaders who will be serving a great number of students coming ahead to lead the next generation, next world. So yes, we are taking a great responsibility to educate our nation, our children, our next generation to take over the leadership again to make the world to be a better place. So for the last 5 day workshop, I wanted to give you a kind of glimpse of idea. It is not enough for uh, telling all these things of research, all the nitty-gritties of research within these 5 days. So still, I wanted to give you some sort of idea, at least for almost all areas of research, so that you can explore more. So this is a kind of hint, or actually a thumbnail. So based on these thumbnails, you can explore more, you can read more, you can go from there. So I really I want to apologize that actually I took a lot of time from you sometimes. I took sometimes like 20 minutes, 30 minutes above for the limited time. But thing is, like, as a professor or as a lifelong learner, I always try to see people from my shoes, or I want to feel the shoes of others, where the shoe pinches. And that's why the way I have learned, or I am learning, I want to I want to make it spread it to the world as well. I want to know, I want to see that other people are taking all these learnings, all this knowledge, that the same process I am going through. And that's why sometimes I thought that if I missed some point or I skipped some point, in future you might have some questions that we didn't hear about this term in future. So I think that what I have learned, wherever you read, whatever you read in future, you can connect it anyway to the speech or to the talk, or I share ideas I shared with you. So when I am talking about the ideas, there is one thing have come into my mind. Actually, in the present world, nothing is actually teaching or learning. It is always two-way traffic. Where we started from, Dr. Anil Kumar started this workshop saying this proverb that this is learning is always like two-way traffic. So that's why though I had to talk a lot as a moderator, nothing like that. I am, I don't think I am like instructor. I could teach you something. You know everything. What I wanted to do this, I just show you the path. We could discuss. You raise the questions. You discussed with me. You debated with me. So lot of this discussions have actually paved the way of new avenue for great learning, new research, new knowledge in future. So it is finally time to end the excruciating pain that I have all given to you. Now it is time to say goodbye with my bereaved heart. And thank you. I wish you all success. Thank you very much.
Sir, I think the audience will going to agree with me on one point.
Mhm.
Sir, we are addicted. I mean, during this 5 days of journey with you, I think audience will agree. Sir, we are addicted to your smile and fall in love with the research-led pedagogical practices. So how can we forget you, sir? You will
Thank
be
you.
always with us.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
very much.
sir. Thank you so much. I would like to open the forum for the fellow participants. If anybody would like to share their experiences. Yes, please. Yes. Sir, can you just unmute Professor
Yes.
Devla?
Good afternoon. It's an honor and privilege to be getting this opportunity to speak. Frankly speaking, may I humbly submit, when I came on Tuesday, since I'm from HR and OB, I'm associating very briefly one of the models that I relate to class, the theory of excellence. So it has got 4 stages. Stage 1, unconsciously incompetent. Stage 2, consciously incompetent. Stage 3, consciously competent. And stage 4, unconsciously competent. At least speaking for me, when I came on Tuesday, I was in stage 1, unconsciously incompetent. Many things I did not know. I was also oblivious of the fact that I did not know. Stage 2,
Sir, there is some network problem, I guess, on your side. I think there is some network issue on the other side. Can anybody else wants to share the experience? Yes, sir.
Yeah, good morning, all of you. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's a great privilege and honor to me to be part of this STTP. And I want to share the thoughts in 2 ways. One way, the way that the program is organized, very meticulously following the time frame, and as well as utilizing the technology. So I'm very much thankful to the team of DY Patil Business School, starting from the leader Atul Kumar ji and other team members, all of you. On the other side, the sharing of the knowledge. So we are very much thankful to Mahbub Biani sir and your anguish to share the knowledge what you learned over a period of time, and more particularly during odd timings at your place. I come to know that you are discussing with us, or you are sharing with us at midnight, if I'm right, maybe say midnight 1 p.m. I'm sorry, am I right? Okay. Yeah, we salute to you, sir, for your anguish and as well as your
It's 4 a.m. actually.
trust to share your knowledge, and the way that you shared and the way that you planned the topics are very very impressive and very very knowledgeable, and you shared each and every point, or we can say that all the nuts and bolts of research, though you can say it is a beginning where we have to take it forward, but definitely you build a strong knowledge base for all the participants who take part in all these 5 days program. So that's all I want to share. And thank you very much for the organizing team once again for such a wonderful program and organizing in very, very, very systematic manner. Thank you, sir.
sorry,
Thank
sir, I got disconnected. I would like to conclude by saying I was talking unconsciously incompetent. When I came to the program, I saw Professor Bhuyan. I came to stage 2. I was conscious about my incompetence, so I started studying. Stage 3, I'm now consciously competent. Whatever Professor Bhuyan has taught me, I'm trying to consciously absorb all those things. But I aspire to be like Professor Mahbub Bhuyan, unconsciously competent. Even at 2 o'clock at midnight, if I'm waken up, whatever comes to him, it comes like incessant tap water. I should develop and cultivate that ability of articulating and saying those things spontaneously. So implore your blessing, sir. And since humor is always a part of me, I conclude by saying something on a lighter note. Had I not been of an advanced age, and had I been of the opposite gender, then since I've already fallen in love with you, Professor Bhuyan, sir, then both you and me would have developed our respective domestic problems. So thank you ever so much, Bhuyan, sir. Thank you, Dr. Atul, sir. Thank you, Deepika ji. Thank you, Sonali ma'am, and all sirs, and my co-participants for giving me the opportunity. My best regards. Kudos to you. Pranams, namaskar. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
So, Professor Bhuyan, everybody agrees that we really fall in love with you. Thank you. Okay, so quickly, I would like to sum up one's thought at the end of 5 days of STTP 2021. I would like to say, if we are going to achieve excellence in big things, we should develop the habit in little things that matters. Excellence is not an exception, it is a prevailing attitude. Further, we must all learn not to fear change, but to embrace it enthusiastically and perhaps even more important, encourage and drive it. We are happy and grateful to our honorable dignitaries for being with us during these 4 days, supporting and guiding us towards attainment of excellence despite of their busy schedule. The inputs received at the end of every session added to the glory and splendor of this event. Heavy accolades were put forward for the eventful and deeply enriching deliberations that have added value towards the attainment of professors' pedagogical practice. Lastly, but importantly, I would like to thank all the fellow participants from Indonesia and India present here for accepting our invitation and making this STTP more memorable. I thank all faculty colleagues. Finally, I would like to thank our director, Dr. Amol Gawande, for his guidance and mentorship. And last but not the least, Dr. Atul Kumar and Mrs. Gitika, coordinators of STTP 2021, for their continuous cooperation and support for making this program a resounding success. With this, we are proceeding towards the last agenda of the valedictory session. I would like to request Mrs. Gitika, STTP coordinator, to propose vote of thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonali ma'am. It's a great privilege for me to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks. First of all, I would thank our guiding light, Dr. Sopnath Patil, Secretary, Dr. D.Y. Patil, Unitech Society, our director, Dr. Amol Gawande, for having an unflinching faith in us and inspiring us to come up with more and more such innovative programs which can be helpful to research and inquisitive minds in the institute as well as society at large. My sincere thanks to our Deputy Director, Corporate Relations, Dr. Sheetal Darekar, who agreed to be a part of this valedictory session at the very last minute. I thank our distinguished chief guest, Dr. Malyadri Pacha, and our guest of honor, Dr. Ghali, I believe.
Sihabuddin?
Sihabuddin. Anyways, so Dr. Representative from Politala University. I'm very extremely thankful to them for being a part of this valedictory session and enriching us with their knowledge and experience. I thank Dr. Atul Kumar for coming up with such a wonderful plan and making me a part of it. I can keep on thanking our extremely talented and empathetic instructor, Dr. Mahbub Bhuyan, who bejeweled this STTP with plethora of his knowledge and immensely beautiful way of delivering them to the audience with day-to-day examples. Personally, sir, I am very much fascinated by your background, sir. Your volume of books, they define what you are. My
So
vote of
Geetika ma'am also fell in love with Professor Mehboob for some or the other reason. We all are
yes, ma'am.
falling in love with him for some or the other
His
reason.
books fascinates me, and it is the very representative of what he is, and the way he has produced it in front of the audience all these 5 days is really very exemplary and commendable. Thank you so much, sir. My vote of thanks would be incomplete without thanking our young and inquisitive participants, ranging from research scholars like Ms. Sonam from Gautam Buddha University to experienced and respected professors like Deva Prasad Chattopadhyay sir and Dr. Ruby Chatwal. These are some examples which I have quoted, and there might be many more such participants, our dear participants, who have exhibited so much of enthusiasm and interest towards learning and have proved their charisma, that desire to learn and improve is that one quality which will unleash the best out of us. Thank you so much for giving us this incredible journey, and we are looking forward for more such association with you all, and we'll be coming up with more such programs. So thank you so very much. With this note, I call off the session. Thank you so very much from Dr. Devi Pathvi School.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I will miss you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. We have already dropped an email regarding the assignments. I request you to please submit all those assignments. And today you might have received one more email from our end. That will be the feedback of the overall training program. So it may take your 5 to 10 minutes of your precious time. So I would request you to please complete that training program feedback so that we can learn for the next endeavor of us. Okay. It would definitely take your 10 to 15 minutes, I'm saying. So please fill that feedback form, and we'll see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. for your test. So you will get an email from our end. The login credentials and other things would be there. The link for the test would be there in the mail. So you need to just appear. In case of any difficulty and any issues, please get back to us. We will definitely happy to resolve all the issues. And please be with us. And I've already shared the link on WhatsApp group, so you can join our Telegram link where we can come up with many more such kind of initiatives, and you can be part of those initiatives. Thank you very much once again, and special thanks to Professor Mehboob for being so generous and kind. And as we all know that he has conducted all these sessions in midnight, it really becomes sometimes difficult for everyone to be with us for for a whole week. And it's a summer in USA. Most of the professors, they are enjoying their vacation, so he spared a time for us and for a whole week for us actually. So I'm really in depth and really grateful to you, and I don't have words to express my gratitude towards Professor Mehboob. Really thanks to everyone, those who Professor Sonali Saha for being with us in both the sessions, inaugural and valedictory. You are so you're so prompt, delivering the sessions. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone. So it's time to say goodbye, but definitely we will be in touch, and you might have received our email ID. So those who are interested for collaboration in terms of research activities, Dr. Diva Patil B School is always open, and as an individual professor, I also open to collaborate with the professors or the researchers around the globe. Thank you so much. It's time to say goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.